1931, Florida. Imagine this. You walk into your kitchen, you hold out a spoon, and you wait for your baby's first real word. Mama, milk, anything. But instead, your child bares his teeth, clicks his jaw, and makes a sound you've only heard in the jungle, a chimpanzee sound, not once, not by accident, again and again. And in that moment, you realize something terrifying. This wasn't just an experiment, it was a transformation, and it happened inside your own home. This is the true story of one of the strangest developmental experiments ever recorded, a case that started as a scientific breakthrough and ended as a warning about what really makes us human. Florida, 1931. A psychologist named Winthrop Kellogg believed he could answer one of the oldest questions in science. Are we shaped more by genes or by environment? Nature versus nurture. He didn't test the idea in a controlled lab. He tested it in a nursery. Kellogg had a baby son named Donald. Donald was only 10 months old. Then Kellogg brought another infant into the home, a baby chimpanzee 7 months old. Her name was Gua. 2 infants, 1 house. Same roof, same routine, same life. Kellogg's plan was simple and dangerous. If a chimpanzee and a human baby were raised the same way, fed the same food, played the same games, and given the same affection, would they begin to develop the same? Would the chimp become more human, or would the human become something else? To make it scientific, Kellogg controlled everything. Same clothes, same meals, same toys, same bedtime, same discipline, same attention, same love. They didn't treat Gua like a pet. They treated her like a second child, like Donald's sister, and Kellogg documented it obsessively. Daily logs, constant tests, behavior notes, reactions, memory, problem solving, understanding commands. Every small change was recorded like evidence. This wasn't a cute story about a chimp in a family. This was a living case file. In the beginning, it looked like Kellogg was winning. Gua developed fast, faster than Donald in several early tasks. She learned routines quickly, responded to simple commands, adapted to human patterns, and showed impressive focus. In some tests, she seemed ahead. To Kellogg, it looked like the verdict was coming in. Environment can shape development, maybe even rewrite it. In those first months, the story felt almost hopeful, like science was opening a door. But then the experiment hit a wall built into biology. That wall was language. Gua could learn patterns, commands, and actions, but she couldn't speak. Not real words, not human speech. No matter what they tried, her body and brain simply weren't built for it. That part made sense. A chimpanzee can learn, but a chimpanzee will never speak like a human child. But Donald could speak. He had the wiring. He had the potential. Kellogg expected first words, simple phrases, the usual path. That's not what happened. Donald didn't start talking the way he should have. Instead, Donald started copying Gua. At first it was subtle, a sound, a posture, a strange way of reacting. Then it became clearer. Donald began making vocalizations that didn't sound like a baby learning speech, but like an infant chimp learning the world. Short bursts, odd squeals, animal-like noises. And the most disturbing part wasn't the sound itself. It was the pattern, the consistency, the way Donald's behavior shifted toward the creature beside him. When food was presented, Donald sometimes produced a barking-like sound. Not a word, not more, not yes, a bark. Imitation is powerful. Babies don't grow in isolation. They grow by absorbing. They copy faces, tone, emotion, movement. They become fluent in whatever world surrounds them. So Kellogg faced a nightmare twist. The chimp wasn't becoming more human. The human child was being pulled away from human development, slowly, silently, right in front of them. Donald didn't just copy sounds. He copied the energy, the way Gua expressed emotion, the way she reacted to frustration, the way she communicated without words. The home began to feel less like a nursery and more like a cage with no bars. Kellogg tried to stay clinical. He kept recording and testing, because for a scientist, that's what you do. You watch, you document, even when your stomach tells you to stop. But his wife saw it differently. To her, this wasn't data. This was her child. She understood they were running out of time. Early childhood is not a phase you can repeat. If something goes wrong in the foundation, you don't get a second build. Eventually, the pressure reached its breaking point. Kellogg's wife demanded an end. The experiment was terminated, not after 5 years like planned, after 9 months. The official stop date was March 28, 1932. One day she's sleeping in a human home, eating with a family, being held like a child. Gua was removed from the household and returned to a primate facility. One day she's sleeping in a human home, eating with a family, being held like a child. The next day she's gone, back behind fences, back into a world that no longer feels like hers. Gua died young. Officially, the cause was pneumonia. She was only 3 years old. Even if the medical reason is simple, the emotional damage isn't. Then there's Donald. What happened to him is complicated because the experiment ends on paper, but human lives don't end when the study ends. Donald grew up, and outwardly life moved forward. School, work, adulthood. But the deeper question remains. What happened inside him after those 9 months? What imprint stayed behind? What did he carry that no one could measure in a test? Kellogg wanted to find a line, a clean boundary between human and animal. He assumed it would be an intelligence, or anatomy, or language. But what he found was worse. The line isn't permanent, it's flexible, and it moves based on proximity, because the most powerful force in development isn't theory, it's contact. It's who you wake up next to, who you listen to, who you copy, what surrounds your nervous system every day. That is the real horror of this case. Not that a chimp couldn't become human, but that a human child could be influenced so deeply before anyone realized what was happening. This story isn't just about a psychologist in 1931. It's about an uncomfortable reality. You don't become what you want. You become what you're around. A child raised around screaming learns screaming. A child raised around fear learns fear. A child raised around silence learns silence. A child raised around chaos learns chaos. Water takes the shape of its container, and people take the shape of their environment. Not instantly, not dramatically, but daily, quietly, in ways you don't notice until it's too late. So the real question isn't what makes a human human. The real question is, who is shaping you right now? Who are you becoming every single day without realizing it? Your brain learns the room it lives in. Your emotions learn the air you breathe. Your habits become the people around you. Kellogg thought he was doing science, but what he really proved was something simpler and darker. You don't just raise a child, you build the world the child will copy. So look around, at your circle, your friends, your room, your feed, your daily noise. Ask yourself one thing. Is this the life you want your mind to imitate? Because whether you like it or not, you are becoming it. Slowly, silently, irreversibly. And that is the real ending of this case. Choose your environment before your environment chooses what you become.